now that we're being recorded. Things like that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Good job. Okay. So slightly behind schedule, but we'll call this meeting to order at 1:29 p.m. First and foremost, I guess I'd like to congratulate the members of council on being elected to council as a result of the 2021 municipal election. I look forward to working with this group and getting some things accomplished with the administration team. So I guess as we indicated, because we are recording, there's a little switch on the microphone off and on. Probably when you're not talking, if you kind of turn it off, it helps with the echo a little bit. And then turn it on when you're there and kind of try to speak as close to it as possible, because as you can see, it kind of goes a little better. That's the only sound that the camera is really picking up for the live stream part of it. So that's the reason we would say that. So, as well, I guess I would welcome Staff Sergeant Michael Newman. He's just recently, oops, turn it off. There it is. Anyways, welcome to Staff Sergeant. He's just recently taken over the post at the Coaldale Detachment. So just recently here, and asked him to come and perform the oath of office for the council members at this point. So first of all, I guess in your package that we did put out, I did put in the official election results following the process. So as you can see, you just get a final tally of votes, indicating these were the individuals that were successful. As well, council had put out a question in regards to should the town reduce the speed on highways, roadways within the town limits from 50 to 40, unless otherwise posted, such as playground zones. Very close vote, as you can see. No 323 and yes 303. And we were still finalizing the results of our referendum questions and the Senate questions yesterday. Those official results are being posted today as a result of the province. In terms of the equalization, I believe it was, if you recall, in favor of changing the constitution, and the time, I believe, was slightly to not change it. I recall. Yeah. So, with that in mind, I will turn it over to Staff Sergeant Newman to administer the oath of office for Mayor-elect Lindsay Montina.
What do I do for a setup?
So stand up.
Okay.
I think if you want.
Do you want me to come around?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you live streaming this? Okay, so we're.
So I just click right here?
So we can come up here. That's
Okay.
great. You can have your own pen, you can bring it out.
Yep.
Nice to meet you, and congratulations to everyone for their recent appointments, and look forward to working with all of you in your future. So, so the official oath, you have an option to swear on the Bible or solemnly affirm, which would you prefer?
The small solemnly affirm.
Solemnly affirm.
Yes.
So, is that good for volume?
Yeah, just try to speak up a little louder.
Okay, tough to deal with now and everything, for sure. So this is an official oath, and you're going to solemnly affirm. So I will you just repeat after me.
Okay.
So raise your right hand. I, Lindsay Montina,
I, Lindsay Montina,
do swear
do swear
that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability, execute according to law, the office of mayor for the town of Colhurst. That I will not, without due authorization, disclose or make known any matter or thing which comes to my knowledge by reason of my being a member of the council of the town of Colhurst.
That's a long one.
I know.
That I will not, without due authorization, disclose or make known any matter or thing which comes to my knowledge by reason of my being a member of the council of the town of Colhurst.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So sworn. I will get you to sign here.
Okay. You just sign as well, or is that good?
That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Yes, Madam Mayor, it's now your turn to zoom there and take over.
Okay. I need help with this too, but okay. So now I guess we're gonna move on to the oaths of office with counselors. And is there any particular order that we can call you up?
Alphabetically possible.
Okay, we'll start with Counselor Ackman, so we'll get you to come and do your oath.
Congratulations. Thank you. Again, you have the choice of solemnly affirming or swearing. I'm solemnly affirming. Okay. And repeat after me then. And we'll try and speak loudly so they can hear us. I'll hold this up so we can both see. Okay. So raise your right hand. I, Scott Ackerman, do swear
I, Scott Ackerman, do swear
that I will diligently, faithfully, to the best of my ability, execute according to law the office of counselor for the town of Colhurst.
that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law the office of counselor for the town of Colhurst.
That I will not, without due authorization, disclose or make known any matter or thing which comes to my knowledge by reason of my being a member of the council of the town of Colhurst.
That I will not, without due authorization, disclose or make known any matter or thing which comes to my knowledge by reason of my being a member of the council of the town of Colhurst.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So swear. Go ahead and sign there. Thank you. Congratulations.
Counselor Caldwell will now do your swearing.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Again, as the others, you have a choice to swear on the Bible or solemnly affirm.
I will solemnly affirm. Thank you.
All right. So we'll speak loud and you can repeat after me. Raise your right hand, please. I, Heather Caldwell, do swear
I, Heather Caldwell, do swear
that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability, execute according to law the office of counselor for the town of Colhurst.
that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law the office of counselor for the town of Colhurst.
That I will not, without due authorization, disclose or make known any matter or thing which comes to my knowledge by reason of my being a member of the council of the town of Colhurst.
That I will not, without due authorization, disclose or make known any matter or thing which comes to my knowledge by reason of my being a member of the council of the town of Colhurst.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So sworn. Thanks. Sign that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Counselor Florence, is it you up?
Congratulations. Would you like to solemnly affirm or Bible, in the left hand, raise your right hand, and you'll repeat after me. All right. I, Deborah Florence, do swear
I, Deborah Florence, do swear
that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law the office of counselor for the town of Colhurst.
that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to the law the council for the town of Colhurst.
That I will not, without due authorization, disclose or make known any matter or thing which comes to my knowledge by reason of my being a member of the council of the town of Colhurst.
That I will not, without due authorization, disclose or make known any matter or thing which comes to my knowledge by reason of my being a member of the council of the town of Colhurst.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So sworn. Thank you. There, please. Thank you.
And Councillor Poetry.
Congratulations. You have the option of consulting Bible. Bible, sorry. Yeah. Bible in your right hand. Or the left hand, and raise your right hand. Repeat after me, nice and loud. How do you say your last name, sir?
Poetry.
I, Jesse Poetry, do swear
I, Jesse Poetry, do swear
that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law the office of councillor for the town of Colhurst.
that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law the office of councillor for the town of Colhurst.
That I will not, without due authorization, disclose or make known any matter or thing which comes to my knowledge by reason of my being a member of the council of the town of Colhurst.
That I will not, without due authorization, disclose or make known any matter or thing which comes to my knowledge by reason of my being a member of the council of the town of Colhurst. So help me God.
So help me God. So sworn.
All good. I think I could have read that one.
There's a cap on there with it. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor. We really appreciate you doing this. One more, I guess, right?
Okay, I guess.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion, that the town of Colhurst hereby appoints Heather Caldwell to the office of the deputy mayor for the 2021-2022 term. And so we have to administer the oath. Oh, we have to do this? What do we do?
Hey, Madam Mayor, just need to vote on that.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for that. Thank you for the clarification. Have any call the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, so now we need to administer the oath. And do we need to come up there again, or? I don't want to. Oh, yeah.
Sure. Like,
This is my note. I don't have to. I'll just come stand. Sure. Please do. And I provide entertainment.
Make it illegible, that would be a different thing here.
and again, you have the ability to solemnly affirm or swear.
I'll solemnly affirm, thank you.
You can raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me, just like you've done before. I, Heather Caldwell, do swear
I, Heather Caldwell, do swear
that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law the office of deputy mayor for the town of Colhurst.
that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute, according to law, the office of deputy mayor for the town of Colhurst.
That I will not, without due authorization, disclose or make known any matter or thing which comes to my knowledge by reason of my being a member of the council of the town of Colhurst.
That I will not, without due authorization, disclose or make known any matter or thing which comes to my knowledge by reason of my being a member of the council of the town of Colhurst.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So affirm. Sign there.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much, Staff Sergeant, really appreciate that.
You bet, and we'll leave you to your business, and I look forward to attending a council meeting and introduce ourselves further. Go from there, so.
That sounds great, thank you.
Have a great week. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, so Staff Sergeant Self at 1:42 p.m. And now we'll move on to fix the dates, times, and places for all of our regular meetings. So let's just see here. What's the best way for us to go about doing this? Do we just make a motion for us for with the usual then, or what should we do here?
Yeah, thank you, Brandon. Yeah, if someone's prepared to move it, or if you know, then we can put it on the table and discuss it a little bit further in the process.
All right, Councilor Caldwell?
Yeah, I wonder if, I'm not sure if this is working. No. I might have to just speak really loudly. Can others hear me? I wonder, do we want to put it on the table and have some discussion as to what times, if this is a good time for all, or if we want to change it, or?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess as the way the resolution is worded, the motion is such on the basis of the recent procedural bylaw that was passed by council, which basically says all regular council meetings shall be held on the first and third Tuesday in council chambers. Council may by majority vote change any date or location held prior, at any regular meeting held prior to the scheduled meeting date for any reason that deemed appropriate. Regular meetings will commence at 7, adjourn no later than 10 p.m. unless following the session. Motion is passed by the majority of council to extend to 10:30 p.m. So as it stands now by the bylaw that's been passed fairly recently and has been kind of the set dates and times, that's where it is at this point in time.
Okay, I will make that motion, as I stated that the dates, times, and places, I'll leave this up here. Including through electronic means, all regular council meetings will be held as set out by section 6.0 of the council procedural bylaw, number 422-21. But I would like to open it up for discussion, to see if there's any other thoughts from anybody else.
So I have a thought, about moving it potentially from 6 till 9. I think that might be better for just, being able to explore more without going late, and have discussions at an earlier hour. I just wanted to see what everybody's thoughts were on that. Is that something that, so based on what you were saying with the procedural bylaw, that can even happen, or? Okay.
You know, how can you?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just look it off.
Yeah, I say as it stands right now, it is a bylaw that has recently been passed, so if we were to change it, it would require changing the bylaw to that effect. So it can be done, but would require changing the bylaw.
So just for clarification on that, what would be the process for changing bylaw?
Basically, there'd be a revision or amendment to the bylaw, and would have to be given 3 readings, possibly at the same meeting if there was unanimous consent to give it 3 readings, or if not, then we'd carry on to the next meeting to get that possible 3rd reading.
All right, I think your thoughts from anyone else? Councilor Buckley?
Okay. I was supposed to have it earlier, either way it goes across my consent time, so.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I just, boy, we're gonna have to explore technology a little more here, eh?
Leave it on a little longer.
All right. I had hoped that we would visit this question, thank you. I recognize that many people have families here and other jobs have to be up early for, as well as the staff. And so I found frequently in the past when we stay till 10:30 and everybody has to be back. Sort of in less than 12 hours, it seems a little onerous on everybody, so. If we can explore slightly earlier time, that'd be nice. Thank you.
Thank you. So what I'm hearing from a lot of people is that we would like to consider an earlier time. And so, you know, how would we, what's the best way to go about doing this, to review the bylaw and make those changes so we can address our times?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Basically, what we could do is present an amended bylaw at the next sort of formal meeting of council and consider giving it the 3 readings at that meeting. It doesn't require any public interaction or anything to that effect to change it. Just would require the council majority vote in the 3 readings at some point to make the changes. So if that's what you wanted to do, I guess what we should do this meeting is, you know, maybe a motion to the effect of looking at amending that procedural bylaw to take into account the changes that we talked about and will be drafted by administration to bring forward. As opposed to motions on the table,
Yes.
which basically says to follow what's said in there right now, so.
Okay. Would anyone, so we do have a motion on the table right now, which would then need to be, like, can we amend that motion?
You could also put in a motion to amend could be made, and then if it's carried, then the motion as amended would be put forward.
I was looking at you like, what's going on? Okay, yeah, so, who would like to make a motion? Councilor Murphy, is that you?
No,
Oh,
I just,
no.
Okay, I think if we're looking at an amendment or we're looking at, the original motion was made and we're looking for just a friendly amendment on time, I guess it's not friendly if it's so structural that we're changing time. And I wonder if I can just ask other council members and the person at the council who had brought forward the suggestion, is 6 o'clock a good time, or would people look at 5, or are we all saying that 6 o'clock is our optimal time to start a meeting?
I think that's a good time. I think that way people would still be able to attend after work. So I think that 6 would be a reasonable time. 6 9.
and I agree, like 5 would not give people enough time to commute back and potentially get a meeting, so 6 is, I prefer 6 maybe.
So, Councilor Adams?
Yeah, just like to say, I think 6 would be better for the community if they want to get involved and watch it. It gives people a chance to get home after dinner and then attend if they want to. It just kind of breaks up the workday and the meetings a little bit more.
So then may I suggest that with the original motion that I had read, that we vote on that and then make an additional motion to have our next meeting at 6 and then it can be reviewed at that point in time. Does that make sense? Or does that not make sense?
Yes, Madam Mayor, you could defeat the motion that's on there, which says as for bylaw, and then put a motion to change it. Or have the bylaw changed to the future meeting.
Okay, so I'm gonna call the question for the original motion that's listed up there. So that is that I move that the dates and times and places, including through electronic means, of all regular council meetings will be held as set out in section 6.0 of the council procedural bylaw, number 422-21. So I'm going to call the question to see if you're in favor. No in favor, opposed? It's unanimous, motion has been defeated. And then, Ciara.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We haven't got to it yet, but in the new procedural bylaw as well, we do have a scenario where the motion is carried or defeated, and if you want to record a vote, that it, you can say that at the time. Otherwise, motions will just be shown as carried or defeated as opposed to carried unanimously or something to that effect. So if anyone wanted it recorded, they need to say that, otherwise it'll just go in as I say, carried or defeated.
Is there anyone that would like to have their votes recorded? Awesome.
I wonder if for a structural change like this, that we do have the votes. We do have the votes recorded as, unanimous, and defeating of this motion. If everybody's comfortable with that.
So we would just change to be defeated unanimously?
Yeah, I'll probably work, because we take very unanimously, so if you unanimously.
All right, so moving on. I would like to make a motion that our next meeting be held at 6 p.m. And at that time that we can review the council procedural bylaw to make any changes that are necessary. Is there any discussion or questions on that? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried unanimously. You did one, guys.
Change the name. Make decisions.
Great warm-up exercise.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to the appointment of board members for, these are just for the different boards. And so, thank you everyone for getting back to me and letting me know some of your suggestions. And so I did have a chance to meet with Sophia how it is going to talk a little bit more about your desires and what that will look like. And I'm actually just going to pull up the spreadsheet to kind of talk about what I have suggested. And then we can definitely move people around if these are not the things that work for you. So Leslie, for you, maybe I'll just kind of read out what I have and then we can get them up on the screen and then we can kind of go from there if that works. So I'm going to make this motion that we're going to have all these people as soon as I find there. Okay, so for the municipal subdivision and development authority, from my understanding, we need to have two council members on here, and I'm suggesting Heather Caldwell, Councilor Caldwell, and Councilor Beaudry. And then we need to get some member at large for this one fall. For the Chinook Intermunicipal Subdivision and Development Appeal Board, I am suggesting Councilor Ackerman's one. Okay, and then for the Green Acres Foundation, I am suggesting Councilor Caldwell. And then for the Old Man River Regional Services Commission, I am suggesting Councilor Beaudry. For the Emergency Management Agents or Emergency Advisory Committee, for this one, I'm suggesting Councilor Florence and I believe, let me just look here. And I believe that I had Councilor Caldwell. And then, of course, we list community members at large. For the Community Futures Lethbridge region, I'm suggesting Councilor Caldwell. For Southborough, I'm suggesting Councilor Ackerman. Parents River Warner SCSS, me, Mindy Martina, Mayor Martina, very welcome. For the Chinook Regional Library System, Mayor Martina. For the Regional Local Assessment Appeal Board, Councilor Beaudry. The Regional Composite Assessment Appeal Board, Councilor Beaudry. For the Old Man Watershed Councillor Ackermans. For the intermunicipal committee with Alfred County, I have Mayor Montina, Councillor Florence, and Councillor Caldwell. For the intermunicipal committee, I have Councillor Florence, Mayor Martina, and Councillor Ackermans. Okay, thank you. And so you know that there's some where I have not selected anyone for chairperson, and so I'd like to open the floor up now for you to comment on potential plans. If there's things on there that, you know, maybe you would like to see differently, I'd like to open up a conversation where you would like to be a chairperson for one of the committees.
Did you want to put us down?
Yeah, oh, yeah, go for it. Oh, let's go to see how to put it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The only one in this group that requires a chair would possibly be the intermunicipal committee. The other ones, the internal committees, we talked about, we do have the chairs there, but those ones are generally picked at first meeting of those committees. So most of the other ones, like Shell and Baron's Rika. So for all those that we're just appointing people there, and then from there, they pick their chairman's advices at those particular boards. We do also have, Madam Mayor, a couple of scenarios where in your package today, there were some letters from some individuals interested in being members at large to some of these, such as the MSDA, which is the Minnesota Subdivision Development Authority. I did have Sam Mills as one, and Robert Home Green as possibilities for those committees. As well, the Emergency Advisory Committee does require 2 members of council, and is supposed to have 3 members at large. We've never had 3 members come forward yet to sit on a committee since it's been established. And at this point, I do have Councillor or Home Green has indicated interest in sitting on a committee as well. She's also indicated interest in sitting as we get further in some of our appointments as the interim reception position as well for emergency services. So, so just some considerations in these as you're going through. So,
Great, thank you. All right, so taking that into consideration, let's take these roll. So we can see the top here. Thank you. Okay, so for the Municipal Subdivision Development Authority, you had indicated that Stan Islands was and Barbara at Home Green. And how many, are we just able to have 1 member at large for that one? Okay, my suggestion is that we appoint Stan Reynolds to that committee and look at some other spaces for Barbara at Home Green to consider. So let's just look at the other 3 members at large here, and then we can have more of a conversation about everybody. Okay, so members at large, we have Irene Gilbert, so that one is already, that one is the inter-municipal subdivision.
thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm getting with that committee, and we can clarify a little further with Diane. She's here, Diane, a little bit planner. But on that one, we do require 2 members at large, and it does say in the bylaw that we have in place that if we only have 1 member at large, that we don't even have a council member, because they require more at large members to sit on these appeal boards. Presently, or previously, we had Councilor Poultry and Irene Hillbrand were sitting as members at large. And now, obviously, Councilor Poultry, the member of council, as well as sitting on the MSDA. Obviously, he's ineligible for that role unless he's the council rep, which can't be MSDA and that particular one, so we would be looking for, and we did put out, a request for some of these members of large, which we do on an annual basis. And at this point, the only names I have is indicated for the ones that are on the screen this time.
Okay, so we can put another call out though for additional people. Okay, thank you for the clarification there. So for that then, and looking for your insight here, do we need to make a motion for you to do that, or is that something that's just recorded for the minutes that you can go and put a call up for those things?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You're welcome to put a motion on, but we've had it kind of running for over a year for a number of these scenarios, and we'll just continue to adjust our silence. I mean, both of these, like the intermunicipal subdivision development appeal board does require a training course to be certified to do it. As well, you see further down when we get to the regional local assessment appeal board, there also is some training required for that one as well. Councillor Deputy Mayor Caldwell was certified in the assessment appeal board previously, but I think her training is lapsed as well. So, and it is fairly extensive and usually is done through the course possibly. So.
Okay. Well, we'll let you do your job and you can put it out there. That works for everybody. Okay. All right, so let's just keep going down this list then. So we do need to find another member at large and position of intermunicipal subdivision development board. So that's one thing that we're going to be looking for. And then let's look at the emergency advisory committee right now. So we've got Councillor Florence, Deputy Mayor Caldwell, and then a member at large. And so we do have from, I think, is this one with Barbara? Yes. Yes, so Barbara Ashton-Green has put her name forward for this one, and I'd like to suggest that we have her as our member at large. And, okay, so that would be Barbara. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so I think we've got all the members of ours. We do need to select the chairman of the town for the intermunicipal committee with Lethbridge County. But at this point, I would like to hear from members of the council just to see if there's anything within this motion that I'm putting forward here. If you'd like to see things changed or what your thoughts are on this. Councilor Deputy Mayor Caldwell.
Thank you. I think with the Municipal Subdivision Development Authority, we require a chairman for that committee.
Right.
And I would defer to Councillor Poultry if you would like to take on that position, if you would like to take on the chair of that.
I mean, as part of the other, as a member at large, that was a fairly low time ago. I'm not sure what the development authority often do. What is the time commitment there as a chair? I just want to manage.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Madam Mayor. MSDA has shortly meets basically first and third Tuesdays. We have the meeting at 9 in the morning. Again, that's subject to change if that's what we choose. Not every first and third Tuesday, it only depends if our development officer has applications which require, decisions by the authority. And generally, the meetings sometimes can be half an hour length, sometimes they can be a little bit longer. But I'd say it is generally first and third Tuesday at 9 a.m. Little package through, obviously, with the information that's put out prior to the meeting. And then I guess understanding a little bit of the land use bylaw and development terms and that. We do have obviously our development officer and our planner, as well as myself, attend those meetings to assist in the decision-making process. So time commitment wise, that's what I can tell you at this point.
Okay, well, it's not reasonable. Or I don't mind. I'm easy. I will happily share if you're okay.
Absolutely. I had my turn in the past. I'd love to see you, Chair. Thank you.
Thanks.
Vice Chair Jesse, Councilor Bowdre, as the chair of that. Other thoughts or, is there anything that people are not looking for a little bit that maybe you wanna pass on someone else, or is there things that you're not on that you would like to have? I love to hear from anyone. Councilor Holmes?
Okay, I would love to be on the Green Acres Foundation. I know that, Councilor Caldwell spent a lot of time on it. And I do believe that my experience with housing and things like that, would be an asset to that. Thank you.
Councilor Caldwell?
Thank you for that. You know, I've spent a number of years building relationships with the intent of looking at housing in our community. So I have to respectfully request that I'm able to stay on that committee to see if I can bring that to fruition. And I think once we explore that a little further, then I'm happy to share it with other council members.
Thank you. Yeah, no, totally. I was just given, with the proposals with the social housing and seniors housing, I was just really hoping that we could focus on seniors housing and with that. So that was where that was coming from. I understand you build relationships. That's something that I'm very good at. So I think that was the comment. Thank you.
So at this time, with my motion, I'm going to recommend that we can keep it at Deputy Mayor Caldwell. These are, from my understanding, done on an annual basis. And I do believe that Councilor Caldwell, since you have established those relationships, it would be really great for you to continue on with that, and we can review it again next year.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Any other thoughts from anybody, or is this looking okay thus far?
I have a question about the local assessment and regional composite assessment. I'm not familiar with those words very well. I mean, I know what they do, but generally in principle, I know what they do. I guess I would like to hear a bit more about how I'm getting
I'm going to pass this over to you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So basically, those deal with any assessment appeals in terms of your tax assessment. The regional local one is dealing with residential. The composite deals with commercial, industrial type ones. As far as the town, personally, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe we've had an assessment appeal for the town in my time here. Generally, what happens is people may submit an appeal, but then the assessor will touch base with them, and most times will come to kind of a compromise and make a slight tweak. However, as indicated on here, this is a regional appeal board, so that's not to say that Coaldales or Nobleford or some of those types of places may not have appeals, and that's where they do need members to sit on there to deal with those appeals as well. And as I said, it is I think at least a 2-day course, and it's fairly extensive. You know, Councilor Deputy Caldwell was shaking his head. It is pretty in-depth to take the course, but like I say, it hasn't been a lot of appeals, and that's the hard part with it maybe is the fact that you get the training and then there's no actual physical action for a number of years or maybe for a long time. However, what's happened is Orsk is taking over as far as the clerk part of it and whatever, so they run that part, which makes it good because hopefully they have a little experience. I think Glenn Skyper, the director there, actually acts as the clerk on behalf of that. So.
No, that sounds okay. Yeah. Maybe that training with the MSDA, that was similar.
I said you're pretty smart, you can figure it out.
Of course.
Yeah, the training is intensive, but it is really interesting and gives you really good understanding about our taxes work in the community. And actually, the call was maybe once a year, and I've gone from, I think, as far as Chamber and Country Creek. So.
Okay, thank you. No, that's good information.
Thank you. All right, so I'm just going to move down to the intermunicipal committee with Lethbridge County. And so, this one currently has myself, Councillor Florence, and Deputy Mayor Caldwell. Are either of the two of you interested, or is this one motivated for the chair? Turn on behalf of the town. Are either of you interested in being the chairperson for this?
I'm good for you.
Which would you like?
I'm actually comfortable with any of us being the chairs. I think we all do well things.
I'd like to suggest, Councillor Florence, that you take on this role. That's good. Yeah, thank you. Perfect, thank you. All right, so I'm gonna open it up one more time to see if there's, any further discussion or, requests for changes on this motion here. Okay, I'm then going to call the question, all in favor? All right, that's carried unanimously. All right, so now we're going to move to our internal committees, and I do have again some recommendations here, and we can make changes as we need to. Okay. So for the first one there, we have the risk management committee. So far I've got Councillor Ackerman on this one. We do need an additional person, so if someone's very passionate about this, please do let me know. For the policy and bylaw review committee, I have Councillor Florence and Councillor Ackerman for that one. The community sustainability and enhancement committee, I have myself and Councillor Ackerman for that one. So it is myself and Councillor Ackerman. No problem. Oh, do we need three on that one? Just two? Okay. For the recreation and culture committee, I have myself and the Deputy Mayor Caldwell. And I do know that we have received one person who indicated their interest in this, our member at large, and I believe it is Kim Borak. And I would like to propose that she is also included on this. And then I do also know that the Parks and Recreation Society is going to be doing a special meeting tomorrow, which will mean that there will be some different names that will come forward. And I do believe that there are two additional members at large that we would need to get some people for this as well. All right, and then for the staff and volunteer appreciation event committee, I actually don't have anyone on here right now, but we will go through this and we'll figure that part out. And then the finance committee, we're all there. So so with this one, I do believe just to clarify that we do need to have share people for parts of that, or do we need that for all? Do we decide that at the actual committee level? Yes, please.
Just provide what was the question again?
Do we need to assign share people for the committees right now, or do we do that at the committee level?
No, this one's the policy that we have in place as a secretary at the first meeting of
Okay.
the committee.
Perfect.
And actually, if I may, Mayor, in terms of the rec and culture, I believe we had 2 members of council, 2 from the Parks and Rec Society, and there were 2 members at large in there, so it was 7 on the committee.
I think there was 3 members at large.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
2 were Parks and Rec.
There's 2 Parks and Rec,
And
there
3
was, and there was 3 members at
Yeah.
large. So it was Kim Mora, Crystal Goodrider, and Tamara. Yeah, so we just need to get 2 additional ones for that one, if that makes sense. Okay. All right, so I'm again going to open it up. We do have a couple of blank spots there. I'd like to hear your feedback, or if there's any areas where you'd like to move around, or if you want to take one of the blank spots. So I'll open up the floor. Councilor Moore?
Yeah, can I just comment that, I found in the past, and maybe Kim can add to that, is that the policy bylaw review committee and risk management committee, they were really nice when you run them together, because then you could sort of use that risk management lens when you're looking at our bylaws. So I'm not sure if Councillor Florence would be interested in doing both, or.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so we'll add Councilor Florence to the Risk Management Committee. All right, so any other thoughts?
Did we have an appreciation event planned for this Christmas? Do we know that we'll be able to pull that one off?
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this point, there were a couple of members that were appointed, but nothing was done at this point due to COVID. So, and it is slated in our policy for the last Saturday in November. So nothing being done with COVID kind of being where it's at, probably not gonna happen. Unless you choose otherwise.
Virtual. Councilor
Yeah,
Moore?
I mean, it might not be a bad idea, it's been a minute, and it might not be a bad idea to try to look at, sort of, I guess we can't set anything in stone yet, but even if we're looking January, February, March, something in that timeframe, as soon as things open a little more for us. So it wouldn't be a bad idea, I guess, to have that committee in place, and I think they have a budget for 2 years, right, this time? That'd make it really fun to be on that committee.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess the only thing, we used to kind of go with, let's do it in November, it didn't happen, September, it didn't happen, we went to March, it didn't happen, in April, it didn't happen. That's why we kind of put the policy in place to say, let's go with a set date. We book the hall accordingly for that time, and that way it in a sense almost forces the issue, if you want to call it. Like I say, just obviously due to COVID, there wasn't a lot planned in by the community members. It's kind of a difficult year, and we had that happen another time where it happened to be in the election year, so you got 2 members from the previous council that did the work. You appoint 2 members now to kind of help them finish off and maybe plan for the next one. But like I say, at this point, they know that the previous committee had not met and had no plans. And I guess we are getting calls in terms of booking the hall for other potential things for that weekend if we're not going to utilize it. But like I said, at this point, it would be fairly quick to throw together because that's not that far away. So.
Just a question with that, is there, I will do the terms of reference, is there room for the committee to do something a little bit different than what they've done in the past?
Yeah, it's certainly up to the committee to come up with whatever they come up with, from entertainment to food to whatever you choose to do, certainly.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be an event, like it could be something different potentially.
Yeah, I think it's somewhat fun. I mean, basically, in terms of what happens, that mostly is, you have the staff service awards and fire department service awards, and, some sort of, some of the committee members, awards are given for 1, 2, 3, 5-year type service, some of those types of things. So, however you choose to recognize it or deal with it, certainly is on the table, I guess.
You know what, I recognize the importance of maintaining these and sticking to policies. But this is extraordinary times. It is. And I love the conversations I'm just looking at sort of creative ways to make it happen for these guys. But I would, I've been able to take part when things have opened up a bit. I've been able to collect and gather with people and celebrate things. And boy, that is so impactful on us. Right, and we haven't had the opportunities to count, so I would respectfully ask if we can explore the idea of something in early next year. Like right now, I understand gathering would be just way too problematic. I mean, we just, we don't have the resources right now, but if we were to look at something in the new year, I would respectfully request that we explore that, given that this is an extraordinary time.
So if we were to consider that, in terms of the policy, what is the process for, looking at doing something outside of the policy?
Obviously, council sets policy, so when the council chooses to change the policy or, deal with it differently, and as Deputy Mayor Caldwell says, it is an unusual times with COVID, so to look at, moving it from November to hopefully March, where hopefully it's a little more in the rearview mirror than it is right now. I don't see anything necessarily wrong with that, but that would be up to, if you appointed a committee to do it, to look at what they might want to come up with, bring it forward to council for their approval. And go from
Okay, thank you. All right, so, in hearing all of that, I would like to proceed with this committee. Is there anyone who would like to volunteer to head this committee? Councilor White? And Councilor Boyle? Perfect, thank you. All right, so, I do believe that, is there any other thoughts before we leave this item from anyone? Okay, so, I make a motion with all of these different appointments here. And with no question, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, that's carried unanimously. All right, so now we're going to look at the internal appointments. And, would someone like to make this motion to appoint all of these great people? Councilor Atkins, do you like to make a motion? Thank you.
I don't know if this thing's on, so I'll just speak really well, but I move that the following appointments are confirmed for the 2021-2022 term, just as per the notes there. I don't think I have to go through everything, do I, or? Should
I think you're okay. I already love this. Perfect. All right, thank you.
Prior to moving on that, I'm wondering if we can have some conversation. If we're looking at F, Public Information Officer, Barbara Edgecombe Green, has she not requested to be something different than that?
Hey, Madam Chair, yeah, I mean, she still wouldn't mind being part of that, but she also indicated that we have no one in the reception center or the social services aspect of the emergency committee. So she said she would interimly fill in for that. I mean, obviously it's another one that we've been advertising for a while. We did have, Anne Brown was the last one who was in that position and resigned not too long ago from the position. And notice there are also a couple of D&Es up there, Director of Emergency Management, Deputy Director of Emergency Management. At this time are close to vacant, and we have an interim Director of Emergency Management, Amanda Price, that has, during the election process here, given me her letter of resignation effective October 31st. So at that time, at this point, we have no deputy, we have nothing, which is kind of critical. I will note that previous council had talked about advertising for Director of Emergency Services, which would encompass a fire chief and the Director of Emergency Management, and have it as a full-time position. Now, obviously, new council has, some input into whether we choose to move ahead with that or not. The ad is presently out for that on that basis. And again, it's one of the positions that we, both of these, the deputy and the director, we've advertised those for quite some time in various ways for town uses, etc. And not a lot of takers, unfortunately. But with the new Emergency Management Act and those types of requirements that are definitely more stringent rules and regulations that need to be followed there, and definitely from the ground up, we do need some heavy work done with that into things, for sure. So hopefully with this ad, and hopefully with the support of council determining if they choose to go with a full or part-time position in that scenario, so moving forward, maybe we'll get someone at least in place with them. And then from there, we'll still need to find out deputy then as well for that position. Interestingly, even in terms of interim options, I mean, the previous fire chief in South had approached the city Lethbridge in terms of having them act as their big brother them role. They indicated they were over capacity, could not help us in any way, shape, or form. This county at one time, we that as a possibility on a regional basis. They've gone with Coaldale, City or Town of Coaldale acting. So that's probably not too much of an option. Being on the other side of the rivers, maybe the best. And different places in terms of Lower approaching at one point, looking at a regional dam scenario, but there's a approach to the water as well, and then the chance to get those and some stuff there as well. So, and it was mentioned that somebody made conventions to look at, perhaps a regional dam, as a big brother overseeing and working and paying, if it was a pushing a six-figure number, you know, you're paying, say, a third or a quarter of that, at least gets you a qualified person. And depending on who it is and what district they cover, could work, but, traditionally, we haven't had a lot of success. We had a former, resident in town who had done it for a number of years, and when he chose to resign, we kind of somewhat rolled it into the fire chief, volunteer fire chief role, which, you know, was good. I mean, he was definitely qualified to do it in terms of that by getting volunteer basis. And as I say, you know, we want to try to start a full-time position to become the sole chief in that position. But at this point in time, lacking that capacity.
So at this point then, with those different positions, what is the like recommendation for, like, if we don't have anybody, like?
No, and there at this point, like I say, I haven't found an alternate. We were working with the interim with Brandon Price in the hopes that, you know, she would hang in there long enough to at least get this full-time position possibly in place. I did get a call from a former county staff member who was in somewhat that role in the past, and I think it's inquiring more about the position than advertised. But, you know, whether that would be a possibility for an interim basis, because like I say, we're more towards the end of November, by the time the posting closes, I can set up interviews, resumes, and get to Christmas, probably at the new year, of course, I'm staff would be right for the year, you know, be a short notice at the issue. So yeah, that's, and I'm not sure other than that, that's where we reached out at this point, so.
Is that something that we could, put out to the community again, like when you're doing, when we were looking for those other potential appointments for the committees, we could, this is another.
Pretty much been permanent posting with that.
Okay.
For quite some time, so.
Thank you. So Deputy, Mayor Caldwell, you had some more questions about the public information officer. Can you just elaborate on that part?
I'm comfortable with that appointment. I just didn't want there to be any sort of conflict about it. I wasn't sure if a public information officer could also act as sort of that reception and, you know, sometimes we've seen where we have an overlap of roles when does this suffer a little bit. So but based on the information you've provided, it sounds as though we want to move forward, and we have all sort of rebuild.
Amen, Mayor. I would agree with Deputy Mayor Caldwell in terms of if she's running the reception center and to be the information officer, you know, the post would be a difficult type scenario. So I would suggest that, you know, if we are looking at having her even as interim reception person, until such time as we find someone, and we have obviously Bullock listed as the other public information officer, that we just go with Kyle, and if we choose to appoint Barbara as the reception center, even on an interim basis, that would be a more suggested way to go, I would suggest.
Yeah, and I know that when Barbara had that role, she had that role as a council member, so we do have some skilled council members that can step into that role. And I think Barbara's skill set would be really exceptional at a section, but just her knowledge and her resources would be fantastic. In the other role,
So the other role meaning, is that the deputy director, or is that something not on here?
you know, the role as the reception,
Okay,
sort of the emergency services or social services component of it.
okay,
Like she has the knowledge and experience, just, right? But the communication piece, like public information officer, as I said earlier, when she took on that role, it was sort of like one council member and then Kyle. So we do have some skilled council members that can step into that, but you know, it's just exceptional communication. So that's sort of why I was thinking that could be look harder, where her skill sets really lie, and that would be in that social services reception. And kind of have someone who sort of got the communication.
Just a little bit more on that too. I don't know if you need to have two in that position. I think one is more than enough. Sometimes it complicates things if you have two people. You don't know who's going to be posting or communicating what. So that's just a suggestion too. I don't know if you need two in that position.
Great, thank you, that's great. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I know this on this list of positions where we don't have that reception center person listed, but if we chose to do that, this is where we could put that person as well.
Okay. So with that, Deputy Mayor Paul, do you have anything to add?
I'm sorry, I love this conversation, and I appreciate hearing that, you're right, and I think maybe to not cover there just sort of as an alternate, or because we required a council voice if we were in a state of emergency. I'm not sure if it was there a necessity, but I think Kyle is our go-to guy for social media and other councils.
Yeah, it was always a little, I think just one would be more clear. Yeah, we had two, but I think one would be clear. I mean, you know, the chain of command, you know who you're going through the postings, so.
So then I'm saying that, can we do with this, can we do a friendly amendment, or do we need to, what is the best way to go about doing this to remove Barbara from this one, but also to add the reception center to this list?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, no, there's no problem if we wanted to add delete, if we wanted to add a deleted position. There's no problem, we can do that right here, right now, so.
All right.
What is the reception center?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's, if our community center or something is set up in terms of the, you know, the vehicles or whatever the case is, to get the Red Cross guys to register people so that people know that people registered and safe, that type of stuff, so.
Okay, so only in emergencies. Yeah.
And Council Florence has dealt with that in the past as well, so.
Councilor Ackerman, this is your motion. So are you okay with what we've been discussing of making those changes?
Yeah, we can adjust as we had talked about there. That's perfectly fine.
All right, so just to clarify then, we're going to remove Barbara Esham Green from the public information officer and also add her in as the, what is the official title?
Disaster social services, transportation manager, something like that. Big handle.
Okay.
It's Director of Emergency Social Services and Transportation.
Perfect, thank you.
Or disaster services.
Any more discussion? Councilor Butcher?
So for the other firms listed here, like, NDE Engineering and some, you know, KPMG, Northern Company, all these firms, they have ongoing standing offers with us, or are we just, how is that contractually arranged?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Most of these, like KPMG, we have a commitment from them for a few years. Northern Company, it's an annual appointment. We've got with them for a number of years for smaller, not necessarily smaller, but more regional or localized scenarios. If we do get into more intense municipal issues, I do go to Brownlee or Reynoldsburg for some of those other firms to deal with those types of things. As far as MPE, again, they've been long-standing engineers for the town, and we have contracts or, you know, agreements with them too. With theirs, obviously, we put their for services up to $75,000. Anything over that, if we're getting into that kind of stuff, then we do have to go the request for proposal type route. So that's why we entered into an agreement with MPE, and I believe it's a 3 or 5 year agreement that's in place right now for that type of stuff. So. And there are certain services that MPE provides for us that in talking with our director of operations, such as some of our SCIDAs and some of those types of stuff that they have the local people right here, and then most of these go down, we need those addressed ASAP, and some of the other firms have those people, but they're down here in your Edmonton or Vancouver or something, so it's critical for those for sure that we want to use for that. And obviously, they have the history in the town as well for other things, so.
Okay. My concern, I guess, is, I'm just curious if in those, agreements, there's a set kind of hourly rate or something that kind of binds them to, not, charge us exorbitant amounts for every minimum time rate. That's all my concern with listing them here as, so I was just concerned that it has some sort of agreement, as that you kind of outlined on that, so.
And here, KPMG one for sure, we have a three-year scenario, I think, in terms of the audit fees for that, which I think is minimal to almost only increase in that time period, so what they've been doing. Northern Company, don't really have any set, they don't even have a real agreement, it's just an appointment. And as for their hours, they generally will try to utilize, lower law students trying to take stuff on some stuff. And as far as MPEs, I don't believe there's a real rate set in there, but they generally will do, a contract of assignment or whatever for certain smaller projects. So we can look at what they're going to charge us for a smaller type project type scenario. Based on that scenario, so.
All right, any additional discussion? Okay, I'll call the question, all in favor? Okay, any opposed? It's carried unanimously. Okay, so we're going to move on to signing authority. So would anyone like to make a motion about signing authority? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So generally for this one, what we have is obviously the mayor or deputy mayor, is on our banking statement. And in the past, we've always had a third member, possibly someone that we felt was in town fairly accessible if we needed, something quickly signed if some of the other members were, working, in the city or different places like that. And generally, that the one of the three would be available pretty much most of the time. And most of the time there isn't that, but there's the odd check or something depending on what the odd paper of some sort that we need to be signed in that basis. And then obviously the CAO or Director of Corporate Services in the other capacity, because it does require a council member and an administration person as well. So.
Okay, I would like to make a motion that we add Councilor Ackerman, I know that he's here a lot, in addition to myself and Deputy Mayor Caldwell. So I can just read this over. I move that the signing authority of the town of Colhurst is Mayor Martinez or in her absence, Deputy Mayor Caldwell or in her absence, Councilor Ackerman, and Chief Administrative Officer Howard or in his absence, Director of Corporate Services Block. Any discussion? Call question, all in favor? Great, that's carried. All right, so we do have the town planner coming. I don't know if she's here yet or if we should carry on. Okay. All right, if she's not here yet, would it be okay to move on to your presentation, Kyle?
Yeah. So if you open up your manila folders there, these are just some housekeeping things for the new council, just to get you set up with payroll, things like that. So if it's still in order, there's the first page with your passwords. So there's your computer password, the Wi-Fi password, your email password, and then also just a quick rundown of benefit costs. So this term, benefits can be accepted by council and it's a 50-50 split. So that you have 60 days to decide whether you want that or not. So that's information there. Later on in the package, you have the full benefits breakdown, so you can see what that entails. So you can get back to me, send me an email or call me if you want to join that. So the second page there are some tax forms that you'll just need to get back to me for payroll. Direct deposit, so I'll just need your banking information or a way check. And like I said, there's those benefit enrollment forms. So give me a call if you need me to walk you through those or anything if you have questions. And then after that should be the benefit details package. And there's going to be an expense claim form in there as well. So anytime you attend one of the meetings or committee meetings or external committee meetings, you can fill that out. Basically, I just need the meeting and the date, and then the computer just adds everything for payroll. Another thing, I guess, is we get paid on the 14th and 28th. So just 4 days before that, just make sure you have everything into me if you want it included in that pay run. Let's see, we're also trying something new. We've kind of played around with it a little bit, which is Microsoft Teams, to be able to coordinate things, have things online, make it accessible for council. So we're just starting that. So if you, when you have a second, if you go onto your Teams on your laptop, you'll be able to see some folders that we started. So we're thinking about using the agenda folder so you can view the agendas. Also, we're going to maybe throw some bylaws, policies, different forms that you might need on there, so that it's easily accessible. And so I don't know if you have any thoughts on that as a council, I guess, this first meeting, how you'd like to proceed with some of kind of those housekeeping things, but, or if you have any other questions, feel free to ask.
Councilor Patrick.
So with our acknowledge, we're supposed to change the password, is that correct? Or
You can, or just keep that one. I think there should be an option to change it if you want to.
And for the technology, is it just for this room, stays in this room?
Actually, there's a bag beside you. It's intended that you take the laptops with you. There's a password on there. And so it should just be used for council things, but you can connect it to your home Wi-Fi and it's fine because it's all web-based. So you can take those home with you and use it for council business, take them to your external committee meetings, things like that.
These are fillable forms. I'm so excited.
On Microsoft Teams.
So just to clarify then, one question is, will our meeting packages be just put onto Teams instead of email?
We can explore that. I think I've been talking to Les a little bit, and I think that's doable because you'll be able to see when it's in there. I think if you look on the message or like the posts when you go into Teams, it'll say if somebody's added something. So I think we could try that. Yeah, it'll be new for administration, but we can try and see how it works.
For myself personally, I think that would be great because I was only waiting. So if it's, a place where I want to go to, I would enjoy that.
Can you explain the app thing? Like, so how it's not downloaded on the laptop?
Yeah, so we can look at changing that, but the plan we have is just for web access. So it's not actually downloaded onto the physical computer. It's just you log in and it connects to the internet. So it's on the cloud. So everything you save will be saved on the cloud. And it's not saved on your computer. So you could go on any computer, log into Microsoft Office and have all your information available. So it's not downloaded onto the laptop specifically. So nothing's saved here. It's just a way to access the web versions of it. So it'll look a little bit different than the normal desktop version. If it's a problem, we can look into it. It's just a different cost, I guess, to have that version.
Any other questions? All right, well, thank you, this is great. Okay.
Madam Mayor, I guess, town planner is here now.
Oh, perfect, okay, oh, great. Was there anything else, Kyle, or was that it? That's perfect, okay, so we will now go back to our town planner, overview here. Hello. Sorry, that's over here. Okay, well, thank you for joining us. We're really excited to hear about whatever you're gonna tell us about, yeah. I'll turn it over to you to see how it is, and maybe you'd like to say to get started.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Maybe just for, the sake of our town planner, Dan North, I'll just do a quick introduction of the council members. So obviously, Mayor Lindsay Montina in the middle there. And starting next to my left here is Councilor Scott Ackermans, Councilor Deb Florence, Deputy Mayor Heather Caldwell, and Councilor Jesse Poultry. This is Diane Harless, she works out at Forest, and on a contract basis, does our planning for us. And obviously, as indicated earlier, assist with some of our MSDA type scenarios, and various other books that she's got there. So she'll kind of just give a really quick overview. There is later on, as you'll see, a session being working on flight works as a council orientation in January. So that will be more in-depth scenario. And as we move forward with MSDA meetings and various other discussions on land use bylaws, whatever else you may talk about, obviously it'll be more in-depth scenarios in terms of those particular things. So with that, I'll turn it over to our town planner, Diane Harless.
Great, hope everyone can hear me as well. It's so nice to meet everyone. As Kim mentioned, I'm Diane Brett. I'm a senior planner with the old member of Regional Services Commission. I did bring a little bit of information, so you're gonna have tons and tons of things to read. But it's a little bit about, but I'm gonna spend the first few minutes of this is kind of introducing myself, and then talk a little bit about WORSC and its role with the municipality, and then talk a little bit about your current planning documents and some of the things we will be working on over the next 4 years, and then just kind of opening up to any questions at the end. So planners are notorious, we like to talk. So stop me at any moment, or if you've got questions, stop in the middle as well. So again, I've been planning in the town of Colhurst for 16 years. I started in 2005. I started at the old Man River Regional Services Commission in 2000, so technically I've been with it for 22 years. The way that our organization works is we are a municipally funded organization. So while we are your contract planners, we're very much set up like, I mean, I hate to make a comparison, but like a garbage or a waste commission. So every municipality, and we have 39 member municipalities from Nanton to Coos, and the business pass out to the MD of Tabor and as far as Grassy Lake. We also do the city of Brooks, and we do things up in the county rural area as well. So we travel about 2 hours from Lethbridge, and Lethbridge is our home base. We have 18 people who work with us, from planners to support staff to 5 GIS analysts that run your GIS program as well. So part of what we do is we provide planning services, we provide geographic information services to these municipalities. We do assessment review board services on your behalf, We also run the Chinook Regional SDAB, or the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board, on behalf of member municipalities. So there is no provincial money. Anything that the commission runs on is from a combination of municipal membership fees, and then fee for services, which would be when we do special projects for municipalities, as well as subdivision fees. So again, you'll note when we get into planning, there's two sort of streams of planning. One is development and one is subdivision. And so again, we did as the development portion of it, and I do the subdivision portion of it, and we work as a team. So it's important, you kind of can't have one without the other. So that's why you'll see two of us that deal with that section of it. Maybe a little bit about myself. I grew up in Lethbridge County on a mixed farm. So again, small town and rural planning is really important to me. I attended UL. Graduated, I was doing math yesterday and went, oh my goodness, 30 years next year. So I graduated in 92. And so again, have spent most of my career with the Old Member Regional Services Commission. I don't know if there's any questions about myself or sort of what ORS does in a nutshell. At this point, no. So I brought this big pile of books, and I don't want to scare everyone, but these are your planning documents, your current planning documents. So every municipality in the province has to have a land use bylaw, and that is currently what this one looks like. So this again provides all the rules and regulations when it comes to development. You have to make sure that every parcel of land in the municipality has a zoning or a land use district assigned to it. This is the book that does that. We have been, over the past several years, rewriting it. So this is the new one. The latest one was done in June of 2020, and then COVID hit. And it wasn't letting off, and we figured that it probably at this time needed some public engagement, more so than what could be provided on online or those types of things. So we've kind of just had in advance. So that's actually not a bad thing, because the government, through the Municipal Government Act and the Modernized Municipal Government Act, have made some more changes. So we'll need to update this before it moves forward, again, based on some of those changes. But that's one of the main projects that council will sink its teeth into over the next, maybe the first year of the term here. The second major thing that we have is the municipal development plan. And for those that were following some of council's meetings, probably in the last couple of months of the last term, you noticed there was some discussion about updating the map with this. And if you listen to the MVP update, you heard my fabulous voice doing a video presentation on what that was meaning, which again kind of talked about the long-term vision. So again, I think there is some opportunity to always revisit this, and this would be one of the things I'd want to go for council to make sure that this is the direction, to understand where the direction was, and if that's the one that you want to keep going with. Anything in these planning documents has the ability to be changed, but there is a process that is required to do that. So always understanding that there's some flexibility with planning, but there's always a process that goes with it. Finally, the great big one at the bottom here, which looks very scary. So I don't know if anyone's been assigned to the Lethbridge County Town of Colehurst Intermunicipal Development Plan Committee. But this is the bylaw for that IDP document, as well as a corresponding area structure plan that was completed as a joint project between the town and Lethbridge County with regards to lands in the county and the town up in the north by Precon. And so this lays out some of that. So half of that probably is the area structure plan, so it may not be as frightening as that looks. So I won't test you on it. But it is important to kind of know where the basis of these documents are so that you'll know and be familiar with them as things move forward. So I don't know if there's any, that's usually I talk a lot less than this, but maybe it's time to really ask questions, or if you've got any things that you've got burning questions about with regards to planning in Colhurst.
Good things. Oh, it's pretty beautiful. The intermunicipal development plan between the town of Colhurst and county, is it coming up for review fairly quickly? Did we?
They should be reviewed, and we do have clauses in them. When this was done in 2014, the previous legislation required that municipalities could enter into them. They were not required. Under the new provincial legislation, they're mandatory. And so we do have a 10-year review clause in it, which would mean either we need to review it to see if it still meets our needs, or if we need to do amendments. I don't know if it would need a full rewrite at that point, but that comes up in 2024. So again, depending on what the county wishes to do, I know that they are currently looking in this next term to open up the IDP with the town of Coaldale. They have done some annexation, they've got some things going on, so they do have a requirement to look at that. Currently, this occurred in anticipation of the last annexation that went through. And so at that point, there wasn't anything that needed to be done, but that doesn't mean that there's new councillors on the Lethbridge County side that would require that as well.
So all those papers that you have, are those, do you just have a printed version, or are they available like, in an online document somewhere that we can take a look at?
They're all available online. I'm pretty sure the town has them, as well as the Employers House Force, in case you've heard that, ORRSC is our short name. And so they are all available on that website as well. So again, it's in two places if you need to look for them. But no, depending on, as I'm old school, I like paper, I also like to tag things and print things and whatnot in the margins. So if there's anything that amendments that you need to do, for example, keep track of those in my books, but definitely from a council perspective, you may not need to have all hard copies of everything.
Great, thank you. Councilor Butcher?
So do you guys do the annexation applications as well, or is that, how's that handled?
We have to enter them before, so it says, which does a plethora of different things. So we'll have this out afterwards, but again, for example, we'll do annexation reports. We do growth studies. One was done for the town in 2015, so those different things. We do parks and rec master plans. We do industrial area structure plans. We do almost any type of planning. We also have been very fortunate in the last couple of years to partner with the Massachusetts Institute out of Montreal College and Montreal University. And we've been doing some things for what they call siting of industrial solar. We then took that project and rolled it into a value siting process for the municipality of Process Pass to try to figure out where the best places for residential, industrial, and commercial types of uses within their communities. So that's, again, dabbling all kinds of different things. The other thing that I was just talking to Jamie Thomas, he's our main GIS guru at our office, and I suggested to him that perhaps for a committee of the whole, I may invite him out. They've been doing a lot of web apps and those types of things specifically for different communities. So he sent me a couple of different examples of it, but I'll have to give those to him to maybe pass them out for people to look at. But they've been doing them for, say, the town of Coaldale, town of Raymond, for some of the direct things and whatnot. So again, there's a lot of things that are more technical that happen in our office that I'm not all that familiar with, and much rather leave it to the experts. But there are some opportunities, where we have the capabilities and you have access to that type of, technology that you can then incorporate into your websites and those types of things. So, again, we often say, you know, call horse first, we probably do it, or know someone who's done it, or whatever, kind of the hub of the region when it comes to that type of thing. Because we do, our motto is to work collaboratively. And so what's good for, you know, why reinvent the wheel? If one municipality has either done it or has worked with that, we try to bring that forward to make sure that all the municipalities benefit from it. I guess maybe we're taking into a little bit of our GIS project. Back in 2005, if you can imagine doing any kind of planning, it was pre-GIS. Every drawing for every subdivision was done without looking at Google Maps, because that didn't exist. There were no GIS programs that showed where the lot lines were. Everything was done by standing on the sidewalk, trying to figure out where the lot lines and those types of things were. So at that point, Coolhurst actually was one of the municipalities that spearheaded it, and joined together and got granting from Heritage Affairs to start a pilot project for a GIS. And that project has grown and grown. And now we actually offer GIS to, I believe, 35 municipalities within our region. We also offer it to smaller municipalities outside our region. So that would include places like Black Diamond in Turner Valley and Sundry and Olds in Central and Penhold, Alex. So they all participate and pay fees into that service so that it then makes the fees go down for everybody else that gets to partake in that. So that's the idea here, is to always be looking for opportunities to share service, specifically for municipalities.
Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
So for planning or subdivisions, applications that come through, does that go to you guys?
Correct. So the development permits come directly through to Leah. I'm sure she might want to speak a little bit more to what that process is. So I know that development and safety goes directly to the office here. Subdivision applications would come to me either through direct conversations with the landowners, or meetings here at the office, which would then culminate in final application. But yes, we do all the processing. So we often say to people, we're the paper pushers, we make no decisions. Give you that idea. Everyone's saying, well, you guys make the decisions. Municipality from a land use bylaw or amendment or a rezoning application, those are council responsibilities. My job is to prepare the paperwork for you to be able to make those decisions, but the decisions lie with council. Same with when it comes to subdivision or some development, because council has delegated responsibility for some types of permits to the development officer. Other ones go to the municipal subdivision development or your MSDA, and they are also the approving authority for subdivisions as well. So that is where those lie. So part of my job is to ensure that when an application comes in, that the bylaw and requirements that council sets forth, lot size, servicing, and access to the lot are covered off. And all that information is given to MSDA so that they can make an informed decision. I will also suggest conditions that are placed on the subdivision. Same as we will make suggestions to conditions that should be placed on the development permit that the MSDA would have approving authority on. But the final say on which condition goes on or off, or how they're worded, lies with that particular approving body. So I often say, It's your decision. I don't get mad if you don't follow my advice, because my job is to provide you advice. And it's to look at, and we had this conversation actually at the office, because we have 8 planners. Some that have been there 25 years, some that have been there 5 years or 2 years. And with that, we often say there's no wrong answer to anything. If you approve it one way, you go right, it might cost more money, but it gives you something else. If you go the other way, it may cost less money, but it doesn't perhaps give you, as nice a development or whatever you might be looking for. And it doesn't, there's no right or wrong answer. It's what you as a council wish to have as the end result. So does it help you get to your end goal? And you have to sometimes, there's always give and take. You're always making compromises, and you'll often find if you have a room full of people, and there's 50 people yelling at you, 25 yelling one way and 25 yelling the other way. If everybody leaves a little unhappy, probably made everybody compromise a little bit, you probably made a pretty good decision. Because if you come out and you leave 25 people happy and 25 people unhappy, did you do as much as you could to try to mitigate the things that people are unhappy with? And sometimes that's extra money for the developers, sometimes it's a lane, sometimes it's not a lane. I mean, you'll be faced with a lot of different situations. And as I can say, I can probably, any good planner, just like any good lawyer, can argue both sides of the issue for you. And it's a matter of looking into yourself and looking back to your plans, what's the end goal? This is getting us to that end goal. So, and I can see Heather nodding, she goes, yeah, I talk a lot, so I will talk and talk and talk to get to do that again. Sometimes you have to keep talking it out, and it isn't something that happens very easily, and they are big decisions. So and sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't, and if it doesn't, then you go, okay, well, someone has said to you that solutions of yesterday are today's problems. Well, that's an interesting, thought when it comes to planning. Sometimes you think what you were doing then makes sense, and now 20 years later, maybe that wasn't the best solution, but okay, what did I learn from it? And what should we do differently? And sometimes, when people, as someone say, well, land use bylaws, well, it's too big, it doesn't make any sense. People can't understand it. And I go, well, your land use bylaw is actually a piece of legislation. And there's ways and there's tools for trying to get your community to understand what those rules are. But you have to understand that when you end up with a decision that's being challenged in court, you have a decision that's being challenged at an appeal, you can't say, well, let's look on page 5 and halfway down the page is the third bullet. That's what we're talking about. It has to be labeled. It has to be able to be referenced. So it's those types of things that, unfortunately, you can't make it as simple as people would like, but that doesn't mean you can't have tools for interpretation, that you can't have pamphlets and, different examples of how this can happen, but it may not be the bylaw itself that you're going to try to simplify, because when you look at it and you go in front of the judge or the court of appeal, as we did with regards to a drive-through, there has to be something to hang your hat on at the end of the day. So there's thousands different ways to do something. It's just you got to determine what's your end goal and how you're going to get there. Because there's many paths to get there. So I know that I talked to Kim, and we tried to, and I come up with some solutions when it comes to how do we get to tell you all this, because I know that when I used to sit down for hours on end and start talking to you about all the policies and all that, and I probably do, about 5 minutes, glosses over. So I would like to hopefully work with the administration to provide on those nights of community of the whole, that might be less busy. Some chunks and to go through different plans and different things. So you have an opportunity to learn about them, think about them, ask those questions. Because they all do fit together. And I know we have a large development that will be coming forward in the coming months. That's going to be exciting because it's from the ground up. So you will get an opportunity that's sort of once in a lifetime to look at something 160 acres, same size as the community, to have say in how that moves forward. So, I mean, I think back to when we did Sundance back in 2006, and to see it so many years later, come to fruition, and to have the homes that are there and the park that is there and those different things, it's pretty amazing to see that. Sometimes, like I said, it's the marathon, it's not a sprint. Maybe something we'll see 20 years from now as you drive by the night. I don't know if there's any other questions you may have, or thoughts, or concerns?
I first just wanted to say that is not Maddie, because you're so right, and you're so good at that, okay?
So, like during the election, people talking about, yeah, let's change this and change that, and I'm like laneway housing and stuff like that, right? Like, I'm wondering how does that stuff get, I guess, added to the agenda and then talk about it and bring you in? Is that something you like?
Yes, actually, there's lots of communities that are looking at that, and so there's normally what would happen is it would come up as an item on the agenda through MSBA, can then advise, take my marching orders from Ken through council, to either prepare some examples, do some research for you, give you a bunch of different options, talk about, experiences that other municipalities have. A lot of the times we'll show you, and with the Sacramento, for example, is entertaining a lot of different types of housing. But they've got a little different situation where they've got they have a dead downtown, and so they're trying to revitalize and reuse some of that. I know we don't have one, so again, looking at some of those criteria in which you could make it happen. So definitely, those are all exciting ideas. I know in the new land use bylaw, for example, right now, we have a residential district and we have a multi-unit district. So that means single family and duplex units are in one of those districts. Multi-unit is 2, 3, 4 and up. We had at the time decided, like, we're getting a lot of 2-unit dwellings, we're getting a lot of income suites built right in at the time of development, that perhaps weren't contemplated. So then we have to look at and say, okay, well, how do we deal with that? This is something that, which I think is always interesting, is that was servicing, when they did the original construction of that, did they take that into account? So how much extra density can we actually put into some neighborhoods? And so that was some of the conversation we had. And so what I come up with was called a 2-unit dwelling land use district, which is a new proposal. So again, this council will have to look at that and see if that's where they want it. But that's where, again, lane housing or those types of different things can be put in. But the idea is looking to say that in new developments, it would allow developers to be able to zone that right off the bat. So you know what you're purchasing a house next to that. Versus, hey, I bought on a street, everybody was single family, and now all of a sudden I have 3 neighbors that have income suites, and we don't have enough parking, and we have issues, and this is what I bought into. So that's part of the conversation that is a consideration, but that doesn't mean anything is possible, and it is up to council to direct what they'd like to see. And when it comes down to it, what gets into that bylaw is what council approves.
Any other questions?
Mayor, I just wanted with council permission, if you just scroll back to those appointments we made to MSCA and to the appeal board or whatever, just to make sure that Diane's estimation made as if we're not overlapping in some of the scenarios. That would be permissible.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, right there. MSCA. And then the appeal board. Goes to the line. The assessment appeal board is different, that's okay.
Yeah. So the difference is that, yes, if you sit on the board that makes the decision, you can't sit on the board that appeals the decision. It's kind of bad. As usual on that. So people don't take that very much. So it does look like this meets all requirements under the MGA with regards to who's there. Councillor Ackerman is going to need training for the appeal board. So we can, I'll make a note of that and I'll put you on the list. Again, I guess I can talk a little bit about the appeal board since we're talking worse things. Back in 2018, the government changed how appeal boards were to function. And so they required that everyone who sits on an appeal board has to have training, but once they pass the training is good for 3 years. I think it's odd because elections are 4, but let's do 3. So with that, municipalities join together through ORS, and so ORS runs what they call the Chinook Intermunicipal Subdivision and Development Appeal Board. And what happens is there's a pool of members, and it's just even better or previous members of that. And as such, you also may be called on to sit on an appeal in a neighboring municipality that is also a member of that. So the way that they work is if we have one here in the town of Quarters, we would look to have Councillor Ackerman and Ms. Hildebrand sit first. And then we have a 3-member panel that we need to hear that. So we need to find another board member. So our guess would be we either go out to Lethbridge County, they're a member of the appeal board, Milford, Picture Butte, and go in concentric circles looking for the next available board member to keep costs down. So the municipality is responsible for paying the per diems to those board members to sit, as well as ORS also offers clerk services. So we have 8 of our planners that are trained as clerks. And so, again, we're always making sure we're not double duty everywhere. So if it was one in Coldhurst, I then would attend the hearing on behalf of the town of Coldhurst. And if you don't want to attend as your staff representatives, we would then have another planner attend as the clerk. That is a service that is also a fee for service. So that other planner would run the process independently of the town of Coldhurst. So that's how that service works. So it's it's kind of a user pay, but it is a yearly fee just to continually keep the board organized. And part of that also, the training part of that is offered for free, but per diem will be paid by the municipality for the time spent to do that training. So usually we try to not bore everybody, so we have a group of planners that would offer the trainings. that's coming up in probably November. And we'll have new member training and then research training as well, so it's a little bit different. And that all looks really good.
Any other questions or, anything with this topic?
Think about it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't know if you wanted to just have a quick overview from our development officer in terms of the development process, just really quick, right, in terms of what she's involved with there.
Sorry, here I thought I got away. Not happy to present. I have far fewer words than Diane, but I'm definitely here to help. Like Diane said, I do process through all the development permits to review them, see if they're discretionary uses, permitted uses. If they're discretionary, then we have to go to our MSDA process and building permits. More reviewing that they do have development permits if they're required. If not, then I'm processing them over to part-time prizes for safety codes officer to issue. I do issue the electrical, gas, and plumbing permits and provide support for any of our residents who have questions on the land use bylaw. And yeah, I guess like I said, it's helped support you guys in the appeal boards as well, representing the town's decisions. Any questions for anyone? All right, well, thank you very much. I'm sure we'll have many other questions soon.
Probably have a lot, okay?
That's okay. Great, okay. Are we going to move on to the next item? Great, thank you very much.
I probably shouldn't have shut it off. Thank you everyone for the time. Like I said, if there's any questions, please, ask him if he can, and get them to me if there's any comments, which you'll probably see a lot of me in the coming months. So I look forward to working with you. Thank you. I'll let you know the meeting on Friday.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave Kyle to go shoot.
Still taking a minute to get used to these rules. Just a quiet side, I think we snuck Lita from horse, right? We accidentally poached her because she was just so on point for us. Was that accurate?
Okay, so let's move on to item 11, which is ethical guidelines for conduct for members of council. All right, can I pass it over to you, kind of give us what everyone say?
Okay, so this item is, I think it's for Madam Mayor, actually. This item is traditionally, since I've been here, an item that's been brought up at every organizational meeting. Was adopted by council back in, as indicated there, 2002. And just kind of indicates ethical guidelines as listed there. We do have, obviously, in addition to this, a requirement of the Industry Driven Act, the council code of conduct, which we'll touch briefly on just shortly here. But I just put this on here on the basis that if council chose to carry on with that particular item here, that's fine. It's not any requirement that has to be there, but it has traditionally been moved and carried by councils in the past, some breakers.
I'm just finding the document right now. Does everybody else have those? No.
We're looking at 46 session. So the ethical rules, right?
bylaw number 422-21. Is that?
No, it's just a one sheet of code.
Oh, okay.
Do we have it here?
It should have been in your last.
After.
Well, I do have,
It should have been the one that was emailed to you on.
Okay. So
No.
we don't have a printed version?
No.
Okay, okay.
It's on Teams.
Oh, great, thank you. I just wanted to look at the document.
okay, sorry.
Okay, so I just have a question about this. It's from 2002. Is there an updated version or is this like the most up to date?
It's one that's never been updated, it's just, like I say, can carry forward year to year from 2002, so.
Okay, so is this just for clarification, is this something that was developed for the town of Commerce, or is this something that was adopted by like an organization? How did we come to this?
It was before my time, Madam Mayor, but as you can see, the AUMA symbol at the bottom, I'm assuming something that back in the day AUMA had proposed as something to put forward.
Thank you. One other question. Is this, are we feeling that this is up to date to represent essentially almost 20 years later, or should we be looking at something a little bit more holistic?
I think it was the same, not a requirement, obviously your code of conduct file is more current, addresses a lot of these things.
Okay.
And then as well, your procedural bylaw and that type of stuff, listed in there. So, I mean, again, it's just something that has traditionally been, but it's never been updated, never been looked at, just been brought forward, has been adopted.
Great, thank you. Would anyone like to make a motion to adopt this or to confirm our commitment?
I can make that one. I can make that motion.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor? Perfect, that's carried unanimously. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to the strategic plan for 2019-2022. Let me pass some PCA on it.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. So again, put this in the package. I mean, obviously the previous council had got together and put together a plan in 2019 and carried over into 2022 kind of overlapped. It is something that, we do have implemented a policy where we should look at this on at least a once-a-year basis and review it, which we're just in the process of amending policies, et cetera. My suggestion with this obviously is, and I've heard it from other communities as well since the elections, something that in the next, say, month or something, we'll look at drastically sitting down and coming up with a new plan. I would suggest sort of more towards, say, spring or, into that 6 months to a year type basis to kind of sit down and work with a facilitator of some sort to come up with your plan, which would then kind of overlap by that year into the next council term and see where some of these are and work through. I mean, some of these are, we've gone through it not too long ago as the previous council to determine, the status of where these are. So we can certainly have a look at it in terms of where those are and see whether or not some of these are still obviously current to move forward, perhaps with a new plan, see where some are at in terms of moving forward and, develop our own plan. But as I suggest, probably within the next year, possibly to come up with our strategic plan moving forward would be my suggestion.
Any questions? So I just have a question on this, like with the strategic priorities, is this something that is normally, that the council normally gets reports on to see like how we're doing, or is, like how do you know that we're, I guess, maybe some of our goals we set up?
Traditionally, we haven't, I guess that's where we've now put in the policy to review it kind of on that at least once a year basis type thing. Obviously, a number of these things were referred to the Community Sustainability Enhancement Committee and were being worked on as a result of the progress there and the minutes were coming forward from those meetings as to, moving it forward. and various other ones from some of the, say, for instance, shared industrial park, water storm sewer, those types of things come from municipal meetings and or, obviously infrastructure upgrades as per budgetary type scenarios or whatever. So again, it's something we can look at to, have I would suggest that we just go to this into council package just so you're aware of it, and then review it on at least on a once-a-year basis, and obviously develop a new one. So.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Please, for on the topic? No? Okay.
Just if I could go, I really like Aaron gave what you had suggested about regular updates, and I think that we probably want to keep that on the forefront as we're looking forward to making decisions. I mean, we have to first make it our own, but then just keep it in the forefront as we're making decisions and looking at, just a constant check-in, are we following this?
Yeah, I would agree. I'd be curious to see, since this was 2019, how much progress has been made, or some of the areas maybe we haven't made progress. Just to get an idea, even as we go into our new plan for ourselves to see if these things are relevant or not. So,
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And again, certainly that's part of what we can do at a future meeting, obviously. The intent of today is just to kind of throw some of these things out there, as Diane said, with some of the other planning documents, et cetera, that at future meetings and future discussions, obviously what we discuss in more detail.
great, thank you. All right, so if there's no other questions or comments, we're gonna move on to the next agenda item, which is file number 426-21, Council Code of Conduct bylaw. Okay, then pass it over to you again.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So again, not to go into any depth on this, I just wanted to put it forward. I did highlight a couple of areas or whatever, just to keep in mind as you look at it moving forward. It is a recently new requirement under the Municipal Government Act to have this code of conduct in place. However, in the recent discussions at the provincial government level, there's been some discussions in terms of removing the requirement for this out of the Municipal Government Act. There's been some backlash, I guess, in terms of that as to why would you do that. And obviously, in the past little bit, we had some, utilization or looking at this in terms of dealing with some council matters, which, was discussed a little bit through the campaign and election process that just took place. So basically, just as I say, just wanted to quickly highlight a few points. Obviously, again, it's in place. It's relatively current. 21 bylaw, we made some changes to it, minor changes, I guess. But I'm going through it, I guess, just number 4, just that talks about representing the municipality. So basically, just reading it there, being act honestly in good faith, serve the welfare interests of the municipality as a whole, conscientious, diligent manner, performing your functions, accountability, transparency, professional manner, dignity, and arrange private affairs and conduct themselves in manners for public confidence, very close public scrutiny, communication on behalf of the municipality. Big thing here to note is that the mayor is the council's official spokesperson, unless that individual delegates it to someone else, or in the case of our mayor's absence, the deputy mayor, that can speak on that behalf. However, again, it's indicated can be delegated to whether it be another member of council or a staff member, depending on the situation. And again, just if members are approached by media or anything to that effect, just be careful with statements that are made in that sense, not to mislead or provide false information as a result of that. Obviously, number 6, respecting the decision-making process, is self-explanatory. Again, it's obviously a democracy situation. We bring members here, we discuss, vote, and at the end of the day, the majority decision is the decision that's made. Number 8 talks about respectful interactions with council members, staff, public, and others. So again, self-explanatory there. Respect, dignity, abuse, bullying, intimidation, not be utilized, indecent, abusive, insulting words, anything discriminatory, and various things. 8.6 just said members must not involve themselves in matters of administration which fall within jurisdiction of the CAO. The user attempt to use their authority or influence for the purpose of intimidating or coercing an employee. Confidential information, pretty self-explanatory in terms of if we do go into private sessions and internal sessions, it is considered to, the discussion that is in there to stay within the realms of that room, not be discussed outside of that. There's conflicts of interest, there's some stuff that further orientation sessions, there will be some discussions on that, dealing with potential situations where, your business, a member of your family, or something like that may have some interest in what may happen, so it's important to note that. And again, 11 properties of influence, so use your positions for situations like that. Orientation, other training, 13, just talks about now, again, a new requirement of the Municipal Government Act is that every member must attend an orientation training offered by the municipality within 90 days once you take oath of office. It doesn't specify in the Municipal Government Act as to what that orientation has to be. So, I mean, at one point it was said it could be as simple as what we've done today, and that qualifies, or you could go to the point of, various other sessions to be dealt with in various levels. So, in our case, coming up shortly, we'll talk about some other scenarios that we've got as possibilities for that, but it is something that is now in there. Gifts and hospitality, just a brief description of that. Significant, and there is, as listed in there, an informal and a formal complaint process and the procedure as to how to go on in there. So mainly just wanted to bring to your attention that it is a bylaw that is in our tricks, I guess you want to call it, and just so you're aware of it. And some of the center provisions in it.
Great, thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
So with respect to social media use, I noticed there's a lack of definition. I don't think really says on there. So if Scott posts something on Facebook, does he always have to say, this is my personal opinion and not the opinion of, is it just like a disclaimer I always have to add, or is there some kind of like, I guess I'm wondering how can we navigate it a little easier than it has been in the past. I feel like it's been difficult to communicate with people directly, even if it's not even anything with representing council. I know there's been backlash based, in the other council and other drama around that. So I suppose that comes down to, I guess, how we're working together. First and foremost, we're all working together, we don't complain. But anyway, like everything's happy and we're all working together, it's fine, but when things don't go well, that all of a sudden we're pointing fingers and trying to read every single little thing and force people to go training and stuff.
Though I think that Councilor Barker raised good points. We are going to become, we're going to communicate more with the community now, this council. And so maybe we need to just get a little more rigor in that part around, social media engagement and, or just having an understanding of when can we share information, what information can we share, and what we can't. Right, so just have a little more rigor around that.
I think it's really important to engage the community, but I think it becomes confusing when individuals are putting out information, right? So if the town has the main source of information, like maybe we could just share it from the town as opposed to, right? Like, because the town just needs to be that main source. Otherwise, it's just going to come down to, if that's your opinion, that's not like how it was, right? So I think it's just a dangerous game to even get into commenting on Facebook. I think that we should just share the information and people can make their own from that.
I would agree with you. I took part in, before the last election, I took part in how, there's a number of women that was on different councils as mayor and councilors. And we talked about how as a woman can you, take pride in government, right? I can't remember, honestly, my memory. But one of the things I felt that a distinct disadvantage, because we always kind of carried that thought process in this community. The mayor of Nanton, Jen, has a very active Facebook page, and she engages the community regularly on that. The other councillor, Tanya Thorne, she has a very active Facebook page, and I'm not gonna lie, they were laughing at me a little bit, but my feelings were a little hurt, because they thought that I was kind of behind the times, how are you engaging in your community? If this is how you're choosing to engage, then that's where you should be going with it, right? So, but what you're saying, Councilor Price, is absolutely accurate, and I think that's why we need more ribbons and more understanding of what can we be sharing, what can't we be sharing, right?
And I think it's, like, I don't think anybody here would, I think the cause of conduct, not representing the council of the town in any sort of way, or a council decision in any sort of way is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just, even stating simple matters of public record, for example, right? Like there shouldn't be a restriction on that. You should be able to represent your own views on things, and I mean, maybe that's just a gateway. This is my personal opinion instead of representing council, right? I don't know.
If I can jump in, I think that this is something that we know is important, especially in times of COVID. A lot of the times engagement is being done online. I believe that we need to do more research into how we can properly use this, and then come up with kind of our strategy and our policies around how we do this. I know that there is a current social media policy that's in place, and I believe we should probably be reviewing that and really looking at how are we as a council going to engage with people online, and what does that look like. And so my thought is that we bring that to another meeting where we have time to really dig into that and really start looking at that. And in the meantime, really kind of look at the current policy that's in place and really use the town's communication methods as the official stuff that's happening, and just kind of agree to that at this point, and then figure out what's the way for us to move forward.
I just have a question. So with that then, would it then first go to the policy bylaw review and then go to like council, or would it just come over to council?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In this particular case, I know I had a brief discussion with Mayor Montina this morning, and that was one of the things we talked about. So my suggestion in this case would be, because we're kind of fairly diverse in maybe what we want to or how we want to see that coming out, I would suggest that we have a discussion at a community of the whole type level, and then from there we refer to policy bylaw to further implement and come up with, or not implement, but draft a policy to bring forward which addresses the concerns of council as a whole. There is, in the stuff that you were given to this afternoon here, there is so-called communication social media policy that we do have in place as it stands now, which maybe doesn't quite address all the things as has been talked about here tonight. It was the initial draft that I know Director Corporate Services Bullock and myself at the time put forward when we were first going on to Facebook and Twitter and app and those types of scenarios. So we put something in place, but obviously, in light of moving forward, we probably need to look at that in terms of, but I do agree that that's what we've always tried to say, is that ultimately everything should funnel back to the town website as the official source. And whether it's the app or whatever, Facebook has the basic stuff, but if you want the full details, you end up back at the town website is where it should go. And, as far as, like say, individual council members interacting, that's something I guess we'll have to discuss further, is how we want to proceed with that. So, but that would be my suggestion, is that we discuss it a bit at an upcoming meeting with council, and then we refer to policy bylaw from there.
Any other questions or comments? Great. Okay. Let's move on now to bylaw number 422-21, council procedural bylaw.
Okay, Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, just, it's a big bylaw, we worked on for the better part of almost 2 years, I think, in terms of getting it to this point. And it was a revamp of a bylaw that had been in place for quite some time. And what we did in the drafting of it was took a look at places from the county to the Coaldales to the city to various other samples of ones that we have, and kind of trying to compile the best of all those worlds into it. So it does change a few things in terms of what we do and how we do it, which obviously moving forward, council, will need to follow to a degree. We had that discussion as well. And I do have, discussing here shortly, a registered parliamentarian coming to discuss, a little bit council meeting procedures and parliamentary type stuff, which again, talking with a couple of those people in the past have said, Robert's rules of orders and whatever procedures and policies you have in place are great. Follow them to a degree, but you're small enough that you should be able to engage and have a good discussion without everything read for the letter and being hounded that you're out of order and all that type of stuff. If it's again respectful, good, healthy debate and discussion. So, and it's difficult to operate if you get into two parliamentarian scenario because of the size of this. And you see even at the bigger levels, they don't necessarily follow those guidelines out either. So just quickly, again, I just highlighted a few points in it. Again, nothing minor things, certainly. A couple of the things in the definition part of it, MMR, we have done away. We have for many years dealt with an opening prayer part of every council meeting, which by the Supreme Court of Canada was ruled unconstitutional in 2005, I believe. So finally, we have abandoned that scenario. In its place, we put as kind of the start of it, an opening remark or solemn recognition, and the definitions there, and basically describe what those are. So in the case of welcoming, say, the new staff sergeant who was here, the mayor could welcome the new staff sergeant or something to that effect. If there was a significant birthday or passing of someone significant or something to that effect, again, we give solemn recognition in that sense, but not a so-called prayer, if you want to call it that. So, and again, the reason for that is the Supreme Court of Canada. So, number 6, the regular council meetings, we talked about that, and we are looking at making a change to the timelines on there, and how that works. Special meetings, number 7.0, just talks about we do have a provision, the mayor or majority of council members or certain other items can be called for a special meeting, which means that, we can pass motions and we can deal with stuff as opposed to committee as a whole. You cannot, it's just discussion recommendations come forward and from there to the council for passing. So, 9.0 was added. That was the one we didn't have provision for this in previous bylaw. Obviously due to, was put in place quite a number of years ago. So for remote attendance at meetings, whereby in the last couple of years, year and a half for sure, we've been dealing with a lot of remote to virtual meetings. And there's provision in there that we can do that. And even in situations where someone is perhaps away and wants to participate via remote capabilities, if that was given us for this and provisions are made, we can accommodate that as well. There is part F there does talk about if it is a closed meeting and it's conducted through remote scenario, that it has to be confirmation that everyone is in a secure location. And even if we're in a virtual period and you're all in your homes, you still need to have that sort of confirmation, make sure you're in by yourself and the rest of the family isn't necessarily there, that sort of stuff. Section 10 just talks a little bit about sort of the conduct during meetings, what we can do. I think 10.6 I just highlighted as basically it's maybe simple, but it should be recognized that if there is discussion happening, debate, whatever, it should be addressed to the chair as the mayor, not directly to an individual council member to dispute whatever. So it's important that it goes to the mayor and from there. And I guess same thing. I mean, if you do have something to say, you should be recognized by the mayor before you are allowed to speak, whether it's administration or council members or open members of the public as well. So, voting, I guess, just number 12 there, 12.0, just says all council members vote on every matter. And again, as we talked about briefly earlier, the CAO or executive assistant will record in the minutes when requested by a member of council, whether the member voted for or against the matter. Otherwise, as they say, we'll just call it carried. Not even saying necessarily carried unanimously, just carried or defeated. If it's, carried by, say, a 3-2 vote or 1 vote or whatever, and you want your opposition recorded, that's what we're saying, you do have to request that now. As opposed to before, we would say carried unanimously every time. And if it was, say, a 3-2 vote, we would put carried or against and recorded. So we won't be doing that now unless you request it. So a little change, but, and again, any bylaw motion in which, if, for instance, we're down to 4 members of council and it's a 2-2 vote, it's considered decided. 15 just talks about the minutes of the council meetings. So if we don't have sufficient quorum within 15 minutes, then obviously we can adjourn until the next one. 16, the agendas. With all of our council meetings, committee meetings, etc., as it stands now, we do put out the agendas for the next week by Friday of the week before. So whether it's policy bylaw or NCA or council, whatever, by 4:30 on Friday afternoons, you check whether it's Teams or emails or whatever system you get set up going. That's where your those will be as to your agendas. And sometimes maybe earlier if it gets to the time earlier, but generally by that point. Made submissions for meeting, we shall be asked that you receive no later than 10 a.m. on Thursday before the scheduled meeting, just so we have time to deal with it. Other than that, we'll need a seconder for our motions. We did put in clause now too, with 125.7. Says one member may speak more than twice on any motion other than after receiving questions from the mayor or the person presiding, may speak an explanation of the material part of his or her speech, which is being supported or misunderstood, but may not introduce any new matter, and no need to debate on an explanation. And unless council by a majority vote extend the time, the member shall speak longer than 5 minutes, 3 minutes on the minute, but how hard and fast will follow the meeting, that's where, depending on the meeting, depending on the topics, depending on the discussion, somewhat leeway there, depending on the mayor, because of the time. 28 just talks about the bylaws, we talked about that a little bit, that they do require 3 readings, can be given 3 readings of 1 meeting in circumstances where they don't need initial approval or a public hearing. And if they do go to the 3rd reading, and if it's one that does, it does require unanimous consent to give it 3 readings at that meeting. So, and signing authority we've already talked about. We only have this 31.4, which talks about committees, that's where the mayor is an ex officio of all members, or of all committees to which council has right to appoint members, unless otherwise prohibited by statute or bylaw. And there was, counted to the term quorum, has all rights and privileges of other members. The only one that stands out for us right now that the mayor is not is the MSDA. And the bylaw specifically states that the mayor is not ex officio on that for reasons of planning purposes and the regional basis and appeals, etc. But anything else, policy bylaw to sustainability, those types of ones, they are committed to being ex officio. And that, mayor is just a quick overview of a few things on that. So again, not all inclusive, but as I say, recently passed, recently redone, fairly major revamp of those in place reasons.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay.
So in 10.8, I just had a question, what is item C not reflect on any vote? I'm not sure I understand where in there.
Let's see. I think in my intent, what that means is basically that, as indicated there, unless you're moving to rescind the motion to reflect on the motives of another member in terms of making the motion, or move, over or something like that, I guess you're not getting into that debate, so I don't understand what you necessarily voted that way and that type of stuff, so you're not getting into the debate in terms of that. But if you're looking to, like, say, rescind or something to that effect, then that's what it's saying, so it's just stops that, debate that, well, you can't make that, or, I don't know why you're doing that, you just like yourself, that type of stuff. With my interpretation.
Okay, thanks.
Other questions?
I just have a question about the voting and the showing of the votes on the minutes. Is that for the MTA or is that for some of the previous council did?
On recording the votes?
Yeah.
It was something that with obviously the passing of this new procedural bylaw, we chose to put in, and it did go to council and was to do that. In previous communities that I've been CAO in, that's the way it was, unless someone said I'd like to report a vote on that. We didn't put in, it was, we didn't put a vote against like we have previously. Again, if it's something that you want changed, again, just to reiterate, I guess, it's important to know, any policies or bylaws are works in progress. So, I mean, it's simple to follow. It can be changed, sometimes simple, sometimes maybe through a process, depending on what type of bylaw or policy it is, but they're all works in progress and subject to change at any time if the council chooses to amend or change.
Sorry. On item 25.7, so this is kind of like trying to limit the amount of debate, I guess, is that the
Yeah, I guess the intent is, you like to allow every member to have a chance to speak. By again, if it's over and over and over, and it's nothing new that's being added or whatever the case is. And I know if you get to say, for instance, the AUMA convention, where they do their resolution sessions or whatever, they have someone that has to, speak for, and then if there's not someone to speak against, then that's the end of the discussion. So, and we're not saying that to this effect, we're just saying, previous councils have been pretty good at allowing members to speak once, twice, maybe 3 times, and other members may not have a chance. So this is just a chance to somewhat streamline the meetings too, because I mean, if you're, there's an agenda put out with the intent, you're hoping to try and get through those agenda items in the meeting. And if it gets to the point where it's something that is going to obviously look like it requires a whole lot more discussion, perhaps the best bet then may be to put a motion to postpone it or table it or refer it to a committee of the whole or policy bylaw, another committee to look at for further discussion. Because obviously, you spend 2 hours on it and there's 14 other items to do. Some other items are going to get rushed in. And the other ones you want to talk about may require that extra discussion. So that would be the best bet. If it looks like it's, somewhat debatable more, then let's just refer it to someone else and deal with it there.
Thank you. I know that these are recent changes, council, on the procedure bylaws, and so I think, with this campaign, everybody loud and clear that the community really wants more transparency and more communication from this council. So I agree with Councillor Florence. She's, kind of questioning what the thought process was in changing the recording of votes. And so I wonder if, as we go forward, I don't want to put everything on our plate all at once, but as we go forward, we be looking at this procedural bylaw with sort of that lens of how can we be more transparent and more accountable to the community and, look at some of those changes.
As I said, Mayor, I mean, they're all subject to whatever council chooses.
Okay, thank you. Other comments? Go ahead.
I had a question. So, this, say if someone is not obeying what happens? I guess? How does that? Does Lindsay bang her gavel, or I'm just curious?
Thank you, well, that'll be one way.
I think
Yeah, that's new, so it's brand new, it's very, it's pretty good shape. But there is provision in here in terms of if there's an unruly member, how to address it. I mean, they're asked to leave, in some senses, if they come back and apologize, if that's allowed by council, depending on the scenario, that can be done, or if it's to the point of terribly unruly, we have to call in, enforcement of some sort to deal with. So, yeah, I mean, there is a provision in here, I'm not sure exactly what section you're going to talk about, to deal with unruly. And I mean, yeah, one line is, as indicated here, respect, whether it's members of the public, whether it's members of staff, whether it's members of council, that everyone should be treated in a respectful manner in this building, and outside of the building for that matter. And again, we have the Queen's picture up there, et cetera, and that's why, saying, bad words in terms of the, royalty and that type of stuff, and vulgar language is just not something that we should tolerate. And it does give provisions in here for the mayor to address and deal with as they see fit.
My goal is to not pay the bill. So there you go. Anything else? Go ahead.
Just one quick question. I noticed on section 30 there, they talk about publishing the minutes. Is there any timeline on when the minutes are published from our meeting? Or is there anything kind of writing that? It's just my curiosity.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Not a real timeline. I mean, technically, until minutes are approved at the following meeting, we don't put them out. So it's, a 2-week wait at least, or 3 weeks, depending on when the council meetings. So if we meet on the first and it's not approved until the second, won't be put out until the second meeting where it's approved. And then from there, it's just a matter of timing and other stuff to put out there.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? All right. Did you want to pick up? Are you good? Okay. So let's move on here to item 15, which is upcoming conventions, meetings, and sessions. Turns out we're there.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So just a few things. I know I had an email from the mayor in terms of, some dates for council to consider marking on the calendars moving ahead. Obviously, some of the more detailed ones, such as we talked about, like some of the appointments to committees or whatever. There are some somewhat set dates as we talked about the council meetings, MSCA meetings, even policy bylaws, sustainability. We have kind of set dates for those in our terms that we deal with. Subject to there being agenda items available and preparation materials. So those will come up as we move ahead, but some of these other ones are a little more important, kind of a not necessarily a recurring nature. So I just wanted to go through a few. So first and foremost, we did a little list today, which we just go on to take time just for a quick look. We have arranged, as indicated, an individual to come and do a day session in terms of orientation overall. And there is, so we have, the previous council had authorized to have that individual come forward. So there is kind of a draft agenda that was prepared by them, which is put on your table for today. Strategic Steps Inc. is the name of the firm that we have scheduled to do that. Due to obviously their availability or whatever, I sort of scheduled a date with them already on that basis, because his timetable is filling up fairly fast and he does a number of these. So we have that scheduled for Monday, November 8th. And as indicated, pretty much indicated a 9 to 4-ish type scenario. So pretty much 4 days indicated. There's a couple options we can do though. If we want to do that in person, then he said basically that's what we would involve basically the day. If you want to do it virtually because of COVID and because of other scenarios, he suggested that it maybe be 2 parts, just because it's tough to sit for that many hours in a virtual type setting. So I guess I just need to clarify, first of all, what your thoughts may be in terms of that, as one scenario. Just going through quickly some of the other ones there, as indicated, I have already lined up a basic parliamentary meeting procedure, individual to come and have a brief chat with us. It's on a Tuesday evening, so it's a regular council night or committee of the whole night type thing. So November 9th. There's been some emails from council members in terms of the AUMA convention. It is scheduled for Edmonton. November 17th to 19th is the basic convention. November 15th to 16th, a couple of days prior to, is there's some pre-convention stuff. But if you look at number 4, the meetings 1 on December, 2nd and 3rd in Lethbridge is part of the pre-convention stuff that is listed on there as well. So it was discussed with previous council in terms of registering at Convention Edmonton or registering in Lethbridge, and due to the fact that it generally tends to go up very fast. We have registered for the Lethbridge one, so 2 days there as opposed to the Edmonton one. In terms of, first of all, families, costs, I mean, obviously there's no hotels and that type of stuff for extra nights. But again, that's council decision if you choose. The AUMA convention, as it stands right now, is talking in person, but they are also giving the option of virtual, or if you have 5 registered, one can be virtual if you choose. And it may or may not go to virtual depending on period, I guess. And I'm not sure if the majority of the council chose to not go. It looks like the fee for virtual overall will be the same as if you're in person. But, and again, there was an early registration by October 25th, you save a few dollars in terms of registration. So for what it's worth, we have registered already for the basic convention, and we have registered for the meetings 1-to-1. I have hotels booked in Edmonton for Monday night to Friday, if we were to go to Edmonton already for 6. So, whatever your thoughts may be on that. And then the other one that just came up today was Forest, as that council orientation, which Diana mentioned. Right now scheduled for January 20th of 2022. So there's more information on that. So I did put out kind of a rough AUMA agenda on the table today. Our previous council had submitted the name of our past mayor, Dennis Casey, for the AUMA Distinguished Service Award. And we've been notified that he will be receiving that award at the AUMA convention. Again, the virtual or otherwise depends on the calendar planning supper on the Thursday evening. So those are usually there also is a requirement of council members, property emergency management, to have a municipal elected officials course within 90 days of taking their oath. It is available online right now. That's the only way it's available. So, if you can just sign up for online at whatever time fits you. Timeline wise, 13 hours worth is better part of the day or morning, something to that effect, whatever's going to happen. Basically, so those are some upcoming things that I just wanted to bring to your attention. Comments, questions on those?
So I just have a question, or a comment. So I will be gone on December 3rd, where I won't be here to attend the municipal online conference. But I did know that there was one of those as part of the pre-convention. Is this meant for us to be all together to do it, or is this more of like an individual?
No, again, it's an individual thing. I mean, and again, it's not even a requirement that you take that. It's another orientation session.
Okay.
Some, between today and the other fellow in parliamentary and this, I mean, how much do you want, I guess? And then whatever else we do from there. I mean, there's still lots of stuff, as Diane said, it's still going to be orientation technically and moving forward. So I guess, yeah, the thing is, we can look at Hanson, we need 1-to-1 Lethbridge for some or all, and see if we can get in on the, there wasn't an early registration fee for that at the convention. It was just a fee that was set for that, so, and generally, probably will have a fair bit of room, so if it ends up in long as regards virtual or in person, it'll be offered.
For myself, I love education. And knowing things, and so I appreciate if I could attend the pre-convention. I'd like to do that. And I know that you were asking him about like in-person versus virtual, and my thought is even for like the council orientation workshop for the 8th, is that I'm comfortable doing it in person. It is my thought, but I leave it up to everybody else to kind of figure it out. So I'm on the same as well. And any comments?
I'm already like going on in person with you. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is, I think for sure in person would be great. And that's something that's going to change, right?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, going to the person. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, value can be done here and now on the staff wise, I mean, probably myself and the Kyle will maybe attend. I'm sure how many others, I guess, so. Enough seats in here, there'll probably be one, I suspect, from their end coming, so.
Can I ask a question, if I might? The new 101, that was the course that's being offered in Leopard Center. That's also the pre-convention course that's being offered, as well as the offered online. Is that, just for clarity, is that what you were saying?
Yeah, it's the same, Unity 101 is the same pre-convention thing that's being offered in Edmonton. As I say, of course, I think go virtual or in person.
So if like a council member's taken that before, we have a requirement to have training within 90 days of each term. Is one that we're doing on November the 8th, would that one be adequate for me, or do I need to take the Unity 101 again? Like for the third or fourth time? It's a great course. You drink lots of coffee.
Hang on there. No, I mean, basically, as I said, the orientation prescribed in the NGA is vague.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what we've done today qualifies. You know, as far as I've been led to believe. By doing the November 8th workshop, certainly you're going better. You're doing the parliamentary a little bit better. And I guess for new members, if they felt they wanted to do the Unities 101, it's just an over and above. But certainly, it is because it's through the elected officials education program scenario, as indicated at Premier Caldwell. I think it's saying some of the other courses they've offered as well, and some members of council have as well throughout time. So definitely you will not have to, and you can certainly see about registering accordingly.
Thank you. They are great courses, so they have really great courses today. But thank you very much.
So the rest of the council, are you interested in participating in that, in whether in Lethbridge or pre-convention?
Yeah, it would be personally, because
Which one, is there a preference? Or?
probably have to talk that over, but pre-convention would be my initial thought, but it's just kind of running over everything that way.
So is it okay if we, like, if we're able to get back to you, just kind of let you know which one, or do you need to know this right away?
No, Mayor, as indicated, the basic registration for AUMA, we completed because of the early registration deadline. We have registered already for the Unity 101, so there may or may not be a fee to flip it over to there, or I'm not too sure, but, yeah, as long as we know relatively soon. The only reason we registered for the Lethbridge Center was because, you know, some of those that have been held here recently in Lethbridge, they did come up very fast, and we were unable to get in. So we did put our names in, and they said we could ghost it for the time being because it was, you know, before elections and stuff like that. And put names in after that. So we have registered for it. And so as long as we know, and like say we have to re-register or register for AUMA if we chose to go that route or whoever chose to go that route. And just confirm the channels where we need to people are going and stuff like that. So.
Great, okay, thank you. Councilor Lawrence, are you confident in going to that, whether Lethbridge or pre-convention?
Monthly works for me.
Okay,
When it's already registered, that's fine.
perfect.
I'm good with either.
Great, thank you. Councilor Lawrence, how about you?
Sorry, maybe we're just not following on. So the pre-convention is it's virtual? No.
In person, or is the virtual option for the whole convention?
But the pre-convention is also the same as the Unity 101.
Yeah, the major part of the pre-convention is we use 101. There's a Randall Smith, Richards, Farmer, thing for half a day, I believe, on the second day, Tuesday.
Yeah. The question is,
Lethbridge or pre-convention,
Lethbridge,
or none.
sorry,
Because you can do it in Lethbridge on December 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah.
Or you can potentially do it at the pre-convention, the 15th and 16th of November in Edmonton, or you don't have to do it either.
I see. Wow, for Lethbridge.
All right, anything else with the, upcoming meeting sessions? Okay. We'll go to 16, other organizational matters.
Almost done.
Okay.
So just a couple things there, we've already talked about one there, just our communication, social media policy, so I did put that in the package, so I won't go on that anymore. As well, just wanted to indicate that, for our website, there is a form we also put on the table tonight, which has some kind of information for us to have on file, or if there is media or something like that, to have back to provide. And in addition to that, if you want, on our website, we have in the past with a picture of the local council members and a little bio. So if you wanted to, develop a picture and bio for us to put on there, that would be great, and we'll put that out. If not, that's up to you. Moving forward, I guess, are we, the council meeting wise, are we good with staying in person? Do we want to go back to virtual in light of where we're at? Just, there, I guess.
Also, I'm fine with in person at this point unless something drastic changes. Does anyone have any, is anyone against that? In person, is you okay? Okay.
I just, like, my wife was watching the stream, she's like, it's still kind of like fuzzy audio, right? So, I don't know if we should just try and how we can fix that, but.
Yeah, there's been some comments on there, so I'm gonna try to figure out how we can directly link it into the stream, so the mic will actually be picking it up instead of the camera. So we'll play around with it and look at making it a little bit clearer.
Okay, thank you.
Just finally, I guess, obviously, so moving forward, coming Tuesday would be the so-called first regular council meeting, of some sort, so, there'll be something on the agenda to deal with there to some degree. And as well, I guess, we're into November already, so, budget-wise, that'll be one of the first bigger things that we'll be working on. However, not scary in terms of that, basically, interim budget deals mostly with setting salaries, setting of our water, sewer, and utility rates, and some of the haulage rates, and those types of things. And that's the majority. And any major capital projects that we feel maybe we want to authorize, if we have fundings or things in place, that we can keep moving a little faster, or some major operational expense. But so those are kind of the main items that we'll deal with in the interim budget wise in the next month and a half sort of thing, to get out there, so. And I think that's all I kind of really have, I think, for today.
Great, all right, any questions?
Are we dealing with one last?
Oh, there's one item.
Yeah, I do, so, okay. Community features.
Yeah. So that's our last one, is community features, region, regarding a digital services squad grant letter of support. And so you will see this in your package. And is anyone would like to take a motion?
I'll make that motion, please.
Heather, or Deputy Mayor Caldwell, can you just read out the motion for people that are watching us? That's okay.
Sorry, let me just pull that up here.
I've already read through it a couple times a year, but now I need to go back and find where I have it done. Oh, you know what, can you direct me where we, through the screen button? Okay. I've got Microsoft Teams open and my emails and. So I will move that the council of the town of Colthurst hereby authorizes, Chief Administrative Officer Howden to submit a letter to Community Futures Lethbridge Region in support of their application for a digital service squad grant. I did note in that, letter that the, submission deadline was October 27th. Did we have some, we also had a bit of a template, do we have some, like, are we okay with that sort of a timeline, I guess, to get that in for them? It's quite a, it looks like quite a great opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. I noticed the deadline too, and that's why I just kind of put it on this, that, they have the template letter, so, I'm an executive assistant, will take that out and fire it away for some time, and that's what you do.
If I add to that, not too, you're great at wordsmithing, that constitutes your skill set. But if we could just add something that's relevant to our own community in terms of, that many of our small businesses are sort of home based, and to give them an opportunity to reach a larger audience to learn about sort of digital applications for their business would be so great. Thank you.
Any discussion?
Sorry, am I missing, is there a paper or something? I didn't see you, we're just trying to catch up.
It was in our, it was email, so in the email package and.
Oh, so it's at the end, okay, I have it.
I know, right? 14 places to look today.
Any discussion? Okay, I'll call the question, all in favor? Great, that's carried. All right, and then, who would like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 4:24 p.m.?
I'll make that motion.
All right. Councilor Barnes, perfect. And do we need to actually vote on that?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor for adjourning? All right, that's carried. We did our first meeting, guys. We've only got like 200 more left in the next 4 years.
Good start.
I'm just in it now.